Hello, you absolute legends. Welcome back to the channel. It's John here on what is a horrible day out there. So I'm glad to be in here, kind of. We're at Dad's workshop. He's gearing up because we're working on Mrs. John Coopman's car today. The Pink Panther, the Pussycat, whatever we call it, the little pink bug. We've got a bit of work to do on it before its MOT next week. Nothing exciting. We've got a front lower control arm to fit. On this side, due to the bush in it being no good, and new discs and pads for the front. That's something we're going to be working on today. Dad's going to be doing the control arm whilst I'm working on the brakes. In this video then, let's do some work, see how easy it is to replace that front lower control arm, and some discs and pads. The cost is just under £100. The discs and pads I got off eBay. They were 35 quid. The front control arm was 30 quid, and we've done some work to other bits and pieces as well. So £100, roughly speaking. Thanks for that. Roughly speaking is what we are going to be spending on Mrs. John Coopman's car to get it through MOT. Considering we've had the car nearly 10 years now. I say that, that's 8 years and we've had the car. It's not done too bad. Let's see and do some work together then, see what Dad finds. Hopefully it's a nice easy job. But it might be a bumper off job first. So we'll have to work on that. Hope you enjoy the video. Let's crack on. First port of call then, we need to get the wheels off. This is where the inspector lives when we go away. There's the inspector's stuff. It's got locking wheel nuts on the car, so we need to get the wheel nut tool. And there'll also be a tool for removing the trim as well. Where's that? Huh. Let's hope Mrs. John Coopman hasn't lost that. There's the wheel nut tool. We need that. We'll find that as well. That trim removal tool. It might just be a screwdriver and a pop. Yeah, it is. Trim removal tool, literally just behind the trim. And pop. There it is. Make sure you throw it on the floor and scratch it. Good idea. Bad idea. And then you've got your locking wheel nut tool, which needs that cracking off, so they'll be cracked off. Let's go around and do the other side. Dad's checking out where the bolts are for that bumper. And how to get the control arm off. This one, again. Pop. And yeah, that's broke that. Well done. I think that one was always broken, actually, but we need to just get that ring on there nice and safe. Might need a replacement one. That could be for Mrs. John Coopman for Christmas, one of them. But the pop them off first and foremost. Right, let's crack the wheel nuts off. I've got my bar and this. This is a specially designed alloy wheel remover socket because it's got this nylon piece here, so it doesn't damage your wheel. So because we're working on the brakes, we're going to be changing the brake fluid. So Dad is sort of semi-emptying the reservoir now. He's using a turkey baster, $1.99, Home Bargains. A good piece of tool for your arsenal. We don't want the brake fluid everywhere, and it's just easier to take it out like this before we go. Wheel nuts are all cracked off. Now it's time to send her up. Going up fine. Dad's topped the brake fluid back up. There she goes. Keep sending it up. Car's jacked up. Safety first. Remember, we're not going to be working on the car without axle stands. So axle stands are going in. Make sure you've always used an axle stand. So that would be silly. Last thing you want is a car on top of you. I'm taking the wheels off. Dad's working towards getting the bumper off. It's these big ones here, here and here. They're proving quite difficult. They've grabbed on a little bit, so we're going to have to ease them off a little bit, and obviously when we put it back together, some copper slip. So normally when I'm doing this, if I've got the wheel off, I'm putting the nuts back in here. But obviously we're not going to be doing that because we're going to be taking the pad carrier off and the disc, so I've put them down here nice and safe, but normally they'll be in there. Dan's getting the bumper off. Are you struggling there?
No, I'm cleaning these threads out.
What are you using?
Tap.
Yep. Tapping out the threads because they're all rusty. These are the screws that go in there. They're Torx head. So this bumper is coming off. That's the second bumper we're taking off today. Okay, so here is the lower arm. It's not a genuine Fiat part, but it is OEM quality. You can see in there the new bushes and everything. That's going to be fitted. And we've got Einbach brake pads. We've got pads and the discs. One thing I'm going to do before I take that all apart is make sure that these are the right things and make sure that they fit. You can see that these, in fact, let me grab a light. You can see that these discs and pads are no good. No good. So they certainly need replacing. This is terrible, this disc. And it's just because, well, Mrs. John Cooper doesn't really take the car very far. Short trips. And I've never replaced the discs and pads in the time that we've owned it. So 8 years, new discs and pads. I'm okay with that. Well, that looks right. That looks like the right sort of thing. I've measured the diameter. It's the same diameter. Looked at the holes. That's all the same. The brake pads will also be, in my opinion, for a Ford KA as well. And actually, looking at this, it does say on here it's for the Ford KA 08 onwards and the Fiat 500 08 onwards, because they share a lot of the similar components, including mud flaps. So Fiat 500 mud flaps, 100 quid. Ford KA mud flaps, 25 quid. You do the maths. Here's a little bonus that I wasn't expecting. A brand new wear indicator cable, which I didn't realise was in the box. And obviously the pads are fine. They are obviously to go on the car, but I was not expecting that, so that's a absolute bonus. Dad's still working on getting the bumper off. One side of the bumper's off, which is this side. You can see that it's held in with clips in here and here and here. So you've got to use an angled pick to get those off. It's filthy. Deary me. We'll obviously give it a good clean whilst we're there. Let's get the next side off. We'll have to apply a little bit of pressure this way, and it will get it off, and then it should be free. Okay, so all the clips are undone here. All the screws are out. The next bit is to take the bumper off. Are we going to do that?
You want to take the bumper off, Ralph?
We're going to find something to lay it on, because the last thing I want to do is scratch Mrs. John Cooper's car, because she will know. She will know if I have scratched her bumper, because she is a bit like me when it comes to her car. She's a bit funny about it. So if we do scratch it, she will know. Right, let's get this bumper off. Right, okay. There goes the bumper. Bumper's off. So this is the first time I've ever seen a Fiat 500 with the front bumper off. Dad's seen it before because he's done some work. But let's take a look. So we've got daylight running lights here and here, which we've had to disconnect. And here is the ability to fit some front fog lights. I'm not sure how easy a job that would be. Might be something we could look into to retrofit some front fog lights to the car. It's about the wiring, isn't it? That's the issue. But I'm sure the wiring will be in there somewhere. Something to look at. Behind here, we've obviously got the impact bar, which is the crash bar here, the radiator. And the radiator actually is failing quite a bit. There's quite a lot of the metal missing. It's on the bumper here. Do we need a new radiator? Well, no, not yet, but it's something that in the future we might have to consider. Because look at that, that's not great. Got a horn here. Is there a horn your side? No, not a twin horn, so single horn. This is the wheel arch liner, which has got a plastic window missing there. I don't know how it's gone missing. I'm going to have to buy one of those because it's just throwing stuff all at this light connector. And the last thing we want is to get water and salt and dirt all in that connector. So that's something we need to buy. What else can we see? Lights, obviously. The washer bottle is down here. Dad's taking that bar off so he can access all the gubbins behind there. And we've got just this impact piece here as well. Looking good. I quite like it without the the front bumper on, and it wasn't too difficult to get off. So this might look a bit excessive to fit this new arm, and the reason being is we've got to take this piece out. Oh, we've got to take this piece out to get to the bolt that holds it in, which is poor design, if I'm honest with you, because this has to come off, this has to come out, and the bolt that holds it in is behind here. And there's no other way of doing it. Let's take that arm off, which, you know, is not great for mechanics. So hopefully you can see. Are you finished?
No, I'm mechanicking.
This is the control arm, which is what we're going to be replacing. It's screwed into or bolted into here, which you can't get to unless you take out this great big piece of metal from the system. So yeah, this has to come out, which is 4 bolts here and 4 bolts there. Okay, so the piece that we needed to take off, which is part of the front subframe, is here, which is good news. And now let's have a look under here. Dad's taking the front control arm off. We can get to the nut now, and the bolt, and get it off. There it is, just being cracked off. Here's the new one. Let's get that. There it is, there, ready to be fitted, and that should fix that problem. It's a bit of a design flaw, really, because, as I say, have to take the bolts out from this side. If they'd made it so you could take the bolts out from this side, then you wouldn't have to take the bumper off. You could just take the bolts out and pull this piece out. So, design flaw, Fiat, but that's not good for mechanics and not good for customers as well, because you're going to be paying extra for labour charges. So here's the bolt that's caused all the issue, this one here. We've got to remove this one and one at the back there as well. So those 3 bolts hold that arm in place, attached obviously to there. So the hub nuts had to come off. just hub nut, just not that hub nut, just to give us enough room to get the arm out. Aha! It's off! Hooray! And the new control arm is just being lined up. It's thankfully the right sort of thing. We're going to get it lined up, and then it'll be cup of tea time, which is perfect. Looking good. There she goes. Right, so before we tighten everything up, we are going to jack the suspension up to put it into its loaded position, so that everything is in its position that it will be. Dad, explain it, why we're doing that.
Because if you was to tighten all the bolts up now, the bushes, when you put the suspension on, would be twisting all the time. If I tighten the bolts up, the bushes will not naturally be wanting to twist.
There we go.
Stops wearing the bushes out.
Right, all the bolts are tight. That is in place. Dad is going to go do something really important, which is put the kettle on, because it's tea break time. I'm going to take this jack out. We're going to make sure it's all tight after our tea break, make sure it's all in one piece. Then it's time to tackle the brakes. We've got discs and pads to do. But here it is, all in place. 1, 2, 3, tightened up. There's the brand new control arm. Good stuff. Dad's in the middle of putting it all back together. That piece of the front crash bar system and the front chassis is back on. It's all just being tightened up. Tea break over. It's quite nice. It's good. Noisy. Going to tighten all these back up, and then it's time to tackle the brakes. And obviously, every nut and bolt we put back in is getting some copper grease on. Dad's torquing that up. Looking good. Hub nuts back on. Obviously, it's best practice to use a new one. We're not, but it is best practice. Make sure you torque it correctly. We've torqued it to 225 Newton meters, which is as per Fiat's guidelines. And back in place. Time to tackle the brakes. Hooray! It's going to be, hopefully, relatively simple. Caliper off, carrier off, disc replaced, pads in, wheels on. Job's a good one. First job is to get the caliper off. Pulled back, this pin needs to come out, that holds it in place. And it's pulled up. There is a wire on here, which is the wear indicator that needs to come out.
Where's the new one?
The new one is here. Is it different? Ah, no. So it's this whole plastic unit that comes off. Off there. Here's our new parts. We've got 2 new pads, disc, and that wire. Forgot the word then. Aha! Now we can see what we're doing. So those brake pads certainly aren't great. Sadly, the disc won't come out without removing the carrier, which is a shame. Always secure your caliper, and we've got some wire here to secure it to the spring out the way. Let's get the carrier off then. There it goes. It's held in by 2 bolts. Once that's off, I'll give it a bit of a wire brush and a clean up. And the disc will come straight off. Here's the old pads. As you can see, this one isn't too bad. Not worn out at all, but the other side is very good. And obviously you replace them in pairs. So we could have put new discs on and left these pads, but that's bad practice. Very bad practice. And clean these up. But that carrier's off. Good news. There goes the disc. Let's have a look at that disc.
This is the better one, isn't
It is better of the 2, but it's still no good. This is looking alright, but wire brush that off, clean it off. Give me that. Chuck that out of the way. Oh, there it goes. It's not scored, but it is rusty and not good. We are going to wire brush off everywhere here. And this will be wire brushed off as well, just to get rid of some muck and dirt before putting the pad on. Safety first. Always use eye protection.
Do not use the safety squint.
Yes, do not use the safety squint.
This is an important bit of the job, actually, John boy.
Tell me more.
If the disc runs wobbly,
Yes.
it wears uneven, then you get really bad brake judder.
There you go. That's cleaning the pad carrier. Making sure there's no rust where the pads sit. Here's an important thing to do before you fit your brake disc, is to make sure it is not greasy. Make sure there's nothing from the production on there, because you can see, well, we've put some grease on there, but also you don't want anything on there that is going to hinder with the braking. So we've got some thinners. We're going to degrease it, make sure it's nice and clean. You would normally use brake and disc cleaner, but Dad's out of stock because he's used it on too many old cars. So we're just giving that a degrease, getting all that off there. The important bit, and something to remember, you can't just whack your new brake disc on there.
This is where we find out they don't fit.
There goes the disc behind you in that tub. Yeah, they are. There we go. And the disc's held on with these two studs, and those studs also help locate the wheel. Just going to apply some tune-up. That's brake spray to where the brake pads sit. Tune-up, brake spray. Pad carrier is going back on, and then it'll be time to fit the pads. Just cleaning the caliper, pushing the caliper back before fitting the pads. Cleaning all that gunk off there.
Yeah.
We don't want that on there.
No. Push it back. Want it to twist it? If it twists, I shan't do it.
There she goes. Oh.
Don't push it back too far.
Not really the best tool for the job, but
Saves you a pair of pliers.
it does. There it goes. Okay, so everything's back together on the near side. I ran out of battery on my phone, so I didn't film the process of putting the pads into the carrier and the carrier back together. However, don't panic, because that is on the way. The other side, because we've got the other side to do. So this is the near side. It's all done. It's all fixed. All that's left to do this side is put the wheel back on. We've bled the brakes this side, as you can see. There's the kit there. So to do the other side, which is why we are doing this job, because the other side there is a big problem, and I'll show you that in just a sec. So the reason we're doing this job is because these pads this side are totally no good. They are seized, they're all worn, so Dad's wound that caliper back, and we are getting these to a point where we can get them out. Look at them. Not good. Show me that. Show me them pads.
They're not worn out, they're just seized up, aren't they?
Yep. Not worn, but seized, no good. They were seized on there. Pad carrier is going to come off. New disc going on again, same as before. And then I'll show you the process of us putting the pads back in and it all back together that we missed the other side. Dad's cleaning off the flange. Look at that. That really is not a very good brake disc. So that certainly needed replacing. I'm glad we've done that for the cost of 40 odd quid. So the new disc is on the offside. Dad's about to clean the pad carrier off again here with his wire brush on his angle grinder. Flange has been cleaned. Soon be ready for the pads. Okay, so we're adding some silicone grease onto the slide there, just to give it a bit of lubrication. We're about to fit the carrier back on. There's some brake spray, brake grease. There it goes. On there. No metal carriers on this, like there was on the Mark III MR2. Literally, the pads just sit in the carrier. You alright there? We've been doing this for about, I don't know, 2.5, 3 hours now. Not just the brakes, the
Loctite.
the issue as well. The Loctite, where have I put that? Oh, hang on a minute, let me go get it. Here, just here. Yeah. Loctite, here we go. Here's the Loctite. Dun, bum, 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 ba-da. That's the light. Can you check that out for me? Loctite. Here it is.
Cheers, buddy.
So we're putting the Loctite on those, which are the bolts that hold the carrier in place.
Click. Click.
Pad carrier is back on the car. It's being torqued up.
Click.
And now to fit the caliper back on the slide. Make sure you're not damaging that rubber collet.
Rubber collet.
Rubber thing.
Rubber thing.
What is it? It's not. Is it a collet?
I'd call it a gator, person.
Gator? Whatever you call it. It's the rubber thing that goes on the slide.
Gator, mate, person. Gator.
And now it's time to fit the pads. Always remember, copper slip. The ends do not copper slip. The actual pad, of course.
Stop from going rusty, really. So I could use the that brake spray. I'd have thought.
You could use a brake spray. Good.
There you go.
So the pads now are in the car, in the carrier. Caliper obviously has been wound back. Make sure that it clears them and put it down. Next bit is to put the pin back in that holds the caliper in place. There it is.
Line that up so that little hole can get the other pin in.
And there's a little tiny hole in there with a pin, a little tiny pin, which I'll put in just a moment. Tap it in gently, and away you go. This is probably the most fiddly part of the job. That little tiny pin goes in there and through that holds it into place. There it is. And that is it. New brakes, discs and pads fitted to your Fiat 500. Front bumper's still off because, well, you're not going to fit it whilst you're messing about with this. Wheels to go back on. I suppose the last thing is just to bleed that brake, which we'll do in just a moment. And then we're good. Right, it's time to bleed the brakes. Dad's going to be there with the hose on the bleed nipple. I'm going to be here putting my foot on the brake and pumping it out. You tell me when.
Go on, give me the pump.
Pump.
Just go.
Pump. Pump.
Hold her down. Next, one more.
Pump. That is it. New brakes, pads, and discs on the front of the Fiat 500. This is a 2010 model, but they're pretty much of a muchness. What's left to do? Put the bumper on. It's not something we're doing tonight. Dad's ready for bed. Been working on the car, as I say, since about 3:30 this afternoon. It's 6:30. But yeah, not a major issue. The worst part of it was, I suppose, doing the lower control arm. Just a design flaw, really, in my opinion. The fact that we need to set the bumper off. But hopefully the video has helped you, talk you through the process if you need to do that. And also if you need to replace the front brakes. It's given you maybe some confidence to do it at home. If I can do it with Dad, then it's certainly something that you can do. If you've enjoyed the video, thumbs up please. As ever, thanks to Dad for sorting out the cars in the workshop. If you have enjoyed the video, thumbs up. If you could do that, that really does help, because it helps with the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe if you haven't already done so.
If you don't like it, I'm called Steph.
Dad says, if you don't like the video, we're Steph from iDriver Classic. Good old Steph. Big shout out to Steph. She's been spotting protons for me today. Don't worry, we are genuine friends. Have a great day. Take care. comment below. Was it helpful? Hopefully it was. Till next time, have a great day. From Dad in the Workshop, give us a wave. Thumbs up from Pete. See you later. Goodbye.